Hey, Soul Stories fam. We've got a swoon-worthy love story for you today. Let's jump in and tell us, what city are you watching from? The restaurant Amber and Ivy glowed with a honey-like golden light, warm enough to soften people's hearts and dim enough to blur away the fatigue of a long day. Emma sat at a window table, her phone face down beside her water glass, deliberately avoiding the clock. She had arrived on time. The man Maya had set her up with, a blind date for a fresh start, was already 15 minutes late. Maya: "Go, this time I'm sure. He's kind, not another crypto uncle." Emma: "If he turns out to be another coin show-off, you're sleeping on my couch for a week." Maya: "Table 12, trust me." Emma took a deep breath and glanced at her reflection in the glass. Hair neatly tied, simple dress, light makeup. No longer the girl who once stepped out of her father's car with a designer bag. The past 5 years had reshaped her in brutal ways. Night shifts, pregnancy, paying bills, comforting a sick father, lulling a child to sleep to the sound of wheezing breaths. She had survived. She didn't need a man. But sometimes, Maya said, you deserve to rearrange your heart the way you reorganize your kitchen cabinets. Emma laughed, agreed, and now here she was, pretending to be calm. The glass door swung open. A draft of chilly air carried the scent of rain inside for a few seconds. A man stepped in, paused briefly to let his eyes adjust, said something to the hostess, then walked straight toward table 12. Emma noticed his stride before she saw his face. Those shoulders, the slight lift of one eyebrow, a habit before saying something difficult. Her heart wasn't warned. It stumbled in her chest. He stopped at the table. For a split second, time seemed to fold like paper. "Emma," he said, his voice deeper than before, hoarse as though from many sleepless nights. That name unraveled the knots she had tied inside. Emma looked up. There was no mistake. Adrian, her first love, the man who had vanished exactly 5 years ago, leaving her with a growing belly and a collapsing life. Emma's whole body went cold, as if someone had flung open a freezer door. "Hello," she said, her tone calm enough to scare herself. A waiter arrived pouring water. "White wine for you, miss?" "White wine," Emma answered, her eyes never leaving Adrian. He sat down with exaggerated care, as if afraid to touch something fragile. I'm late. I'm sorry." "You're good at this," Emma said, lifting her glass. "You've started at the perfect place." The white wine glowed golden under the light. A flash of another winter's night cut across Emma's mind. The 2 lines on a pregnancy test. The thought of waiting until he came home so she could tell him in person to surprise him. And then the text, landed safe, that dissolved into endless silence. She remembered the unanswered calls, the frozen fingers from pressing his doorbell, and the cruel way life could teach someone that waiting was a meaningless word. She didn't say, "Welcome back." She didn't ask, "How have you been?" She lifted her glass slightly higher, locked eyes with him, and tilted her wrist. Crash. The golden arc sliced through the air, before soaking Adrian's cheek, tie, and crisp white shirt. Whispers rose around them. A plate clattered on the next table. The manager peeked out from behind the counter. Emma set the glass down, her voice low but sharp, meant for him alone. "That's for 5 years of silence." Adrian didn't lift a hand, didn't flare up. He just sat there, letting the wine drip from his chin onto his collar. Then he leaned in slightly, speaking softly. "I deserve it." 3 words fell like a sentence he passed on himself. No excuses, no blame, no pleading. Anger swirled in Emma's chest like a boat caught in a whirlpool. She hated that feeling. Hated how one sentence could shake the wall she had built with 5 years of tears and sweat. She pushed her chair back and stood. "Enjoy your dinner." "Give me 5 minutes," Adrian said, his voice neither urgent nor trembling. "Then you can go. I won't stop you." She froze, then sat back down coldly, arms crossed. "Talk." The light reflected his face, streaked with wine. He placed both hands on the table, clenching as if to tie himself down. "I disappeared," he said slowly, "because I was a coward. Because I didn't have the courage to face it. Because I chose silence." All of it was my fault. Emma stared, didn't blink, didn't ask. He went on, voice lower. I know I ruined you. I don't expect forgiveness. I just need to say, I take responsibility for everything. No other reason. No one else. Just me. The space sank into silence. A saxophone track shifted into a slower tune, thickening the air. Emma rose, picking up her bag. Her eyes were as dark as a winter lake, and when she spoke, her voice was so cold, Adrian knew there was nothing left to hold on to. The past is dead. Don't look for me again. Adrian pulled a card from his wallet and slid it across the table without touching her. Just a company name, a title, a phone number. No note, no little heart scribbled like in the old days. If someday, he said with a self-mocking smile, or if you need anything, I'm not saying from me, just anything. This is my number. Emma glanced at it, a company name she had heard on finance news playing in cheap lunch diners. CEO. For a moment, she couldn't grasp it. That much wealth, and yet he was on a blind date, sitting here, taking a glass of wine thrown in his face without a word. You look the part, she said curtly. Congratulations. Success doesn't erase the past, Adrian replied. It only takes away my excuses to hide. Emma picked up the card, eyeing it like a harmless scrap with sharp edges. She slid it into her bag, not because she wanted it, but because she didn't want to leave it on the table. Good. Then hide from my life. She turned. Her first step wavered slightly, but she kept her back straight. Adrian didn't call her back. Only the jazz music shifted into another tune, softer, quieter. Emma stepped through the glass doors, night air cooling her cheeks, clear and sharp. Behind her, 3 words still echoed like a late confession. I deserve it. Emma didn't look back. She pulled out her phone and sent Maya a short message. It's done. Then she hurried down the wet street where the night bus ran on schedule, where a child waited for her to tell the bedtime story. The little girl chasing the moon. The past was dead. The future, she would decide with her own 2 hands. 5 years ago, everything had felt like a vibrant symphony. Emma Hale, the rich girl living in a luxurious mansion, carried all that youth could dream of: confidence, a wide-open future, and a dazzling love. Her lover was Adrian Cole, not wealthy, but full of determination, with eyes that burned like fire and a smile that made the world seem a little kinder. Adrian had nothing but himself, yet every time he held Emma's hand, she believed they had everything. They used to sit on the stone steps of her family's estate, dreaming of a small apartment with a balcony draped in lavender. He promised to take her traveling across Europe. She promised to write him love letters by hand even when they grew old. Never apart, Adrian once said, his gaze locked on hers. Never. That winter, snow lay thick outside the window. Emma stared at the 2 red lines that appeared on the pregnancy test. Her heart raced wildly, not from fear, but from unexpected joy. In her mind, she had already imagined the moment Adrian would find out. He would spin her around in his arms, then let out that ridiculous laugh he always did when he was too happy. She decided to keep the secret for a few days. Adrian was away on a short business trip. Emma wanted to believe that waiting for a face-to-face moment would make the news the most unforgettable memory of their lives. But that trip became the turning point. Adrian never came back. The phone stayed silent. Messages went unread. Calls brought nothing but, "The subscriber you have dialed is not available." Emma tried again and again. Each day, hope withered inside her, giving way to a fear she dared not name. She went to the apartment Adrian had rented. The door was locked, and the mailbox was stuffed with papers. She went to his workplace, told him he had quit suddenly. She reached out to mutual friends. They all shook their heads, clueless. It was as if Adrian had evaporated from the world, leaving behind a void with no explanation. Nights found Emma curled up in her room, holding her stomach, waves of panic crashing through her. She wanted to believe he would come back, but with every passing day, it became harder. Faith turned into a dull weapon, one that only cut her hands as she clung to it. Mr. Hale, Emma's father, was the first to discover her pregnancy. He erupted with fury, calling it a disgrace, then coldly decreed, "Get rid of it. You will not bind yourself to a coward who vanished." Emma cried, but her tears did nothing to soften his rage. She bit her lip until it bled, and in the end, she shook her head firmly. "I'll keep it. No matter what, I'll keep it." Her father never forgave her. He treated her like a traitor, cutting off all support. Then misfortune rained down on the Hale family. The once proud business empire collapsed within a matter of months. Houses, cars, bank accounts, one by one they were gone. Mr. Hale fell ill, bedridden, left with nothing but a dry cough and eyes as cold as ice whenever they turned on the daughter who had defied him. Emma was barely in her 20s, her belly growing larger each day. She carried everything on her shoulders, working extra shifts at the supermarket, sitting exhausted at the cashier's desk, then coming home at night to care for her father while fighting through waves of morning sickness. She heard the whispers. The princess has fallen into the mud. Pregnant without a husband. Serves her right? She stayed silent, letting the words slice into her heart, but never surrendering. In those darkest years, the only light was the child inside her. Every tiny kick, every heartbeat flickering across the ultrasound was a command. Live. Keep going. In the early days of pregnancy, Emma often woke in relentless waves of nausea. The kitchen was silent, with a jar of ginger and a box of crackers always kept by her bedside. She clutched her stomach, swallowing down the humiliation. From a pampered heiress to someone who had to manage every breakfast, every vitamin on her own. Her father lay bedridden, his eyes a mix of blame and helplessness, offering her no warmth at all. But Emma refused to collapse. She worked long supermarket shifts, standing at the cashier's counter until her legs went numb, biting back the sickness while forcing a smile for customers. Her meager wages, carefully folded into envelopes and tucked under her pillow, served as a reminder. Tomorrow she must go on living. The day Lily was born was a true storm. Emma went to the hospital alone, sweat and tears mingling with the pain, no hand to squeeze hers, no voice whispering encouragement. But when her daughter's cry rang out, a new flame lit up in Emma's tear-stained eyes. "Hello, sweetheart," she whispered, voice trembling yet proud. "I have you now." Tiny Lily, red and fragile, was proof that Emma was no longer alone. From that moment on, she knew, even if the world turned its back, her child would always be the reason she kept moving forward. The years that followed were a chain of hardships, yet also a school that forged Emma into someone entirely new. In the mornings, she carried Lily to an inexpensive daycare before rushing to work. At lunch, she scarfed down a sandwich, saving the rest to buy milk. Evenings were spent cooking, doing laundry, putting her daughter to bed, then taking on bookkeeping for the corner store to earn a little extra. Bitter words surrounded her. The rich girl turned single mom. How pathetic. Who even knows who the father is? If only she had listened to Mr. Hale, none of this would have happened. At first, each comment felt like a blade, but over time, Emma learned to let them pass like cold wind. She didn't answer, didn't explain. She simply lowered her head, gripped her daughter's hand, and walked on. Emma built new disciplines for herself. Every coin was logged in a small notebook, and every expense was weighed carefully. She learned to mend old clothes, to stretch every item until the seams frayed. But she also cultivated another kind of pride. No borrowing, no begging. "We don't have much," she often told Lily, "but what we have is ours." And on long nights when Lily burned with fever, Emma cradled her close, softly singing old melodies she once sang with Adrian. She no longer shed tears for him. Now her tears were only for praying that her daughter would be safe. Time passed and Lily grew, bringing a light Emma never imagined. The little girl had bright eyes, a warm smile, and a chatter that turned their small apartment into a world of laughter. Lily would often touch her mother's face and whisper, "Don't be sad, Mommy. I'm here." Each time Emma's heart tightened, aching and joyful all at once. That child had kept her from the abyss, transforming harsh years into a journey worth living. On the rain-soaked sidewalk after the evening drizzle, Emma stood under the awning of a closed shop, exhaling as though she had just swum across a cold lake. The scent of white wine still lingered on her wrist, the chills seeping through her thin coat. She unlocked her phone. Maya's text had arrived 5 minutes earlier. "Maya, how was it? You okay?" Maya, after 1 minute. "Hey, answer me. Was he decent at least?" Emma typed slowly. "No." Then paused, deleted. She didn't have the strength to explain what had shattered at table 12. At last, she sent, "I'll tell you at home." She hailed a cab. The taxi slid past golden signs, their reflections flickering across the back seat. In her bag, the business card was as cold as metal. She didn't look at it, but the stiff edge pressing against her thigh made her restless. At her door, she pulled it out, glancing at the bold print in the corner. Company name, title, neat email, phone number, all as precise and tidy as the man himself. No apology, no scribbled heart, just a straight, clean, emotionless line. Emma opened the nightstand drawer, the drawer for things saved for later. Old hospital receipts, a frayed teddy bear, undeveloped film rolls from when she still carried far too much hope. She dropped the card inside, letting it slide beneath a stack of papers. When the drawer shut with a dry click, it sounded like a bolt locking. Another layer was added to her fence. Maya arrived just 10 minutes later, raincoat still dripping. She looked Emma over, eyes narrowing before widening in shock when Emma named the man at table 12. "Say that again," Maya demanded. "Adrian! That Adrian!" Emma nodded, her face unchanged. Maya collapsed onto the chair with a long whistle. "Fate really has a sense of humor." "Or cruelty," Emma replied flatly. She poured hot water and slid the cup toward her friend. "There's nothing to tell. We met. He was late. He said my name, and I threw wine. That's it." "What did he say?" Emma stared at her hands. 3 words. "I deserve it." She shrugged. A sentence both true and useless. Maya was quiet for a moment. "Where's the card?" "In the drawer." Emma leaned back, eyes closing briefly. "Leave it there. Don't tell me to call." "I won't." Maya laid her hand gently over Emma's, squeezing. "I'm just here." Late at night, when Maya left, the small apartment returned to its familiar rhythm. Emma dimmed the lights, set her alarm 10 minutes earlier than usual so she could get Lily to school and stop by the market for discounted milk. Before bed, she opened the drawer and glanced at the card for a second. She didn't take it out. She wouldn't throw it away. Throwing it away would mean acknowledging its weight. Keeping it, burying it deep. That was the choice of someone who had learned to live with pieces of metal inside her body and still walk. Meanwhile, across the city, the elevator of a glass tower carried Adrian to the 42nd floor. The doors opened to a vast apartment, with wooden floors gleaming like mirrors and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking ribbons of lights that resembled rivers of fire. He hung his coat, loosened his tie, and stood before the bathroom mirror. A faint streak of wine still marked his collar, the sharp scent clinging to the fabric. He turned on the faucet, soaked a towel in warm water, and slowly wiped his face as if washing away 5 years of dust. Lifting his head, he saw a man staring back, eyes shadowed from long flights, a new crease etched at his mouth. He laughed suddenly, then stopped just as quickly. Laughter had no place in this room. The living room was as still as a magazine spread. Brown leather sofa, neat bookshelf, a glossy leafed plant. No smell of food, no clatter of dishes, no children's shoes under the table. Adrian opened a cabinet and took out a small wooden box. Inside was an old film camera, the one Emma had once forced into his hands during a countryside picnic. "So later you'll remember how we laughed." He pulled out a brown envelope, edges worn, filled with faded photos. In one, sunlight danced across Emma's cheek, strands of hair falling across her forehead, her eyes squinting with a smile. Happiness unhidden. In another, Adrian held a melting ice cream, feigning surprise at the camera, and Emma had scolded him. Terrible acting. Dust sparkled on the photos beneath the warm lamp, like small, persistent things that clung for years. He set them down, resting his forehead on the table's edge. "I deserve it." Saying it aloud had been easier than feeling it sink into his chest afterward. He didn't know why he asked for 5 minutes. Perhaps because, out of all his wrongs, it was the one thing he could still make right. not hiding behind another door. His phone buzzed. A message left unread since the afternoon from Marcus. "Are you ready to tell the whole truth?" Adrian didn't answer. He locked the screen, face down. He walked to the window, palms against the cold glass. The city below churned like a giant machine. Somewhere out there, Emma was turning off lights, tucking her daughter in, setting her alarm. He narrowed his eyes, picturing her framed in the glow of a small kitchen lamp. "Don't imagine," he told himself, because imagination was the quickest road back to broken promises. Adrian unlocked his phone again, typed a draft. "I won't bother you, but if you ever need..." He stopped. Deleted. Sentences beginning with "if" couldn't save a sinking ship. He put the phone away, picked up another photo. Emma had snapped it of him in the rain years ago, shirt plastered to his chest, grinning foolishly because he was too happy. "Don't smile like an idiot," Emma had said. His throat tightened. He closed the box and slid it back into the cabinet. As his hand touched the wood, a decision carved itself as clearly as the letters on his business card. No more running. This time, if fate wanted to mock him, he would stand and take it. And if fate cracked open a door, he would walk through. Honestly, directly. Outside, a flash of lightning split the sky. Then came the fine, silken hiss, the first drops of rain tapping against the glass. Adrian stared at it for a long while, feeling as if he stood before a door swinging open, not knowing if it led to a cliff's edge or a safe path. The next morning, Emma woke earlier than usual, though her sleep had been paper thin. She prepared breakfast, checked her daughter's backpack, and repeated small reminders that only those who had once dangled on the edge remembered so carefully. Before leaving, she glanced at the drawer once, then turned away, a small but decisive gesture. The workday passed uneventfully. By afternoon, the sky darkened unusually fast. Her weather app blinked light storm, but Emma had long since stopped trusting forecasts. Too many things in her life had defied predictions. She texted Maya, "Picked Lily up." At the parking lot, the wind had already picked up. Emma opened the trunk, pulled out an old umbrella, one rib broken, another bent. She shrugged. "Fine." She got into the car and turned the key. The dashboard lights flickered once, then died. She tried again. A dry rattle. Third time, fourth. Nothing. Rain pounded suddenly, heavy as a curtain of black fabric being pulled down. Emma exhaled, eyes shut for a moment. "Stay calm," she whispered, reaching for roadside assistance on her phone. Raindrops drummed so hard against the windshield that the world blurred into gray. In the distance, horns blared, fragmented, impatient. At the same time, across the city, Adrian left a meeting later than planned. The driver warned of flooding and suggested an alternative route. Watching the rain whip against the windshield like wire lashes, Adrian suddenly said, "Turn toward the old market district." He didn't know why, only that he couldn't just sit still and watch the rain. A thunderclap rolled like a warning. Streams of water raced along painted lines of the road, converging as if veins flowing toward the same meeting point. Fate had already turned the wheel before either of them could think. The rain came down suddenly, a thick curtain of water lashing the windshield like icy hands. The parking lot shimmered in blurred streaks of light. Emma turned the key, the car coughed, then died. She tried again, but it was useless. "Not now," she muttered through clenched teeth. "Is the car sick, Mommy?" Lily asked from the back seat, clutching her little teddy bear. "Yeah, maybe it's just tired." Emma glanced out at the storm, then bent down to pull the bag from the floor. "Lily, put your raincoat on. We'll have to wait a little." Her daughter's name slipped out naturally. Emma didn't notice that, in the corner of the lot, a pair of headlights had swung in and slowed to a stop. The other car door opened. A man stepped out, holding an umbrella, his dark coat soaked through. As he came closer, Emma held her breath. The streetlight lit a face she least wanted to see right now. "Adrian," he tapped lightly on the window. "Car won't start?" Emma lowered the glass a crack. The cold rushed in, rain dampening her hairline. "I already called roadside assistance. They'll take a while." His voice was steady, his gaze flicking to the back seat where Lily clung to her mother's sleeve. "Let me jump it. At least you'll have heat for her. You shouldn't keep a child in a dead car." Emma hesitated. Her mind screamed no, but Lily's anxious eyes forced her to nod slightly. Fine. Just quick. Adrian lifted the hood and hooked jumper cables from his SUV. A small spark flashed. Try it now. Emma turned the key. The engine roared to life, emitting warm air. Lily cheered softly. Yay, Mommy! Emma glanced at Adrian, saw him smiling at the little girl. That smile squeezed her chest tight. I'll call someone I trust. They'll come faster. While we wait, you two should sit in my car. It's warmer. Emma opened her mouth to refuse, but a thunderclap made Lily flinch, clutching her teddy tighter. Emma swallowed her protest and opened the door. Come on, sweetheart. The SUV's cabin was spacious, warm, and scented with leather. Adrian shrugged off his coat and draped it over Lily's shoulders. The child burrowed in, mumbling, Thank you, mister. Emma turned her face away, her heart twisting. She didn't want to hear that word, mister, and even less to see the strange look Adrian gave their daughter. He called the tow company, voice clipped, precise. There's a child, prioritize. Then he set the phone down, silent. Only the sound of rain filled the car. Adrian stole a glance at Lily. That little face, the delicate nose, the faint furrow in her brows when tired, looked so much like his it made his heart stumble. The thought flared. Could she? He swallowed, gripping the wheel tighter. He wanted to ask. God, he ached to know. But Emma sat beside him, shoulders stiff as steel, eyes fixed on the child. The question lodged in his throat, heavy as stone. Emma hugged Lily closer, as if she knew exactly what he was thinking. But she said nothing, not in front of their child. The air thickened, but held. A silent pact formed. No past, no questions, no battles, at least not now. Lily yawned, eyelids drooping. She drifted sideways, her head coming to rest against Adrian's shoulder. He froze, body taut. Then his hand gently supported the back of her neck so it wouldn't fall. The motion was instinctive, natural, painfully so. Emma saw it all. She wanted to pull her daughter back, but feared waking her. Her hands clenched until her nails pressed into skin. Adrian lowered his head, staring at the damp curls against his collar, feeling her soft breath warm his skin. An unnamed longing surged. For a fleeting second, he imagined this was his family, but he knew it was only an illusion. He pulled a thin blanket from the trunk and with slow, careful movements, tucked it around Lily so as not to wake her. When finished, he leaned back, eyes forward, restraining the one question he burned to ask. The tow truck arrived. The mechanic knocked on the window, paperwork ready. Adrian stepped out, handled the forms, and made the payment. Emma stayed quiet, cradling her sleeping daughter, building another wall. When it was done, Adrian returned, opening the door. I'll take you both home. His voice was low, not commanding, only an offer. Emma glanced at the rain still pounding down, then nodded faintly. The SUV rolled out of the lot, tires hissing over water-slicked roads. Inside, Lily slept soundly, head still leaning against Adrian's shoulder, while Emma sat pressed to the door, arms tight around her child, eyes fixed on her invisible fence. Adrian drove in silence. He wanted to ask, but he knew if he spoke, everything would shatter now, and he didn't dare wake the storm before he found any footing. When the car stopped under her apartment awning, Emma opened the door and lifted Lily into her arms. Adrian quickly pulled his hand back, not daring to linger another second. Thank you, Emma said shortly. I'll handle the rest. He nodded, eyes following the mother and daughter's figures until they disappeared into the yellow-lit lobby. Inside the SUV, on the passenger seat, the small blanket still carried warmth, a faint smell of baby milk. Adrian laid his hand on it, gripping lightly, his heart choking on a question without an answer. Lily, is she mine? He didn't dare ask. Not yet. That afternoon, Emma stopped by a familiar cafe near the hospital after work. Maya had already picked up Lily and taken her to art class, so Emma had a rare moment of quiet. She chose a table by the window, ordered a cappuccino, and planned to skim through some work documents. Just as the barista set down her cup, a deep, familiar voice came from behind her. Emma, it really is you. She looked up, a tall man with silver streaks at his temples, a warm smile. Marcus. Adrian's close friend from their university days, who was part of their group. Emma froze for a second, then nodded politely. "Hello, Marcus. It's been a long time." "I thought you'd gone abroad," Marcus said as he sat down after she gestured. "I was here for a conference. Didn't expect to run into you." A brief silence. Emma had no intention of talking much. But then Marcus tilted his head, his gaze softening. "Have you seen Adrian recently?" The question pierced like a knife. Emma turned toward the window, her voice flat. "I happened to run into him, but that doesn't mean anything anymore." Marcus pressed his lips together, slowly turning his cup, then sighed. "I guess Adrian never told you about what happened back then?" Emma frowned. "What do you mean?" Marcus studied her, hesitated, then lowered his voice. 5 years ago, right before Adrian disappeared, your father called him in privately. I know because that day Adrian came to me to talk." Emma's heart skipped. It pounded hard, her hand gripping the coffee cup. Marcus spoke slowly, clearly. "Your father told Adrian he was poor, unworthy of you. That if he didn't leave you immediately, vanish from the city, he would ruin your future. He even said he wouldn't let you live in peace, that he'd make sure you were disgraced." Emma's throat closed. Memories surged back, the unanswered calls, the futile trips to his apartment, the pounding on his door, her father's words, "He's not good enough for you," now crashed violently in her head. "And Adrian obeyed him," she whispered, voice trembling. Marcus nodded slowly. "I told him to fight, but Adrian only said, 'I won't let Emma be destroyed because of me.' And then he left. Without a word to anyone, not even you. After that, he left town, threw himself into work like a madman. I saw him again later, thinner, rigid, never with anyone. He had one goal, succeed, so he could come back." Emma sat frozen. Inside her, the fury that had burned for 5 years began to crack. But the cracks didn't release her. They hurt. The man who vanished hadn't only been a coward abandoning her, but also he had chosen to disappear under threat, a decision both weak and desperate. Tears burned her eyes. Emma gripped the cup so tightly she thought it might shatter. Marcus paused, looking at her with pity. "I'm sorry. Maybe I shouldn't have told you, but I thought you deserved to know." Emma gave a faint nod, no words. Her heart split into two clashing currents. Anger, that Adrian hadn't been strong enough to stand with her, and pain, that only now she learned, 5 years ago, he had also been cornered. It was dusk when Emma left the cafe. The night wind slipped through her hair. She walked as if lost inside her own memories. His promise of never apart, his smile in golden afternoons, and then his back as he vanished without goodbye. Her hand tightened on her bag. At home in her drawer, that cold business card still waited. Marcus's words had lit it like a live coal, pulling at her, calling without pause. She didn't know how long she had walked. Only when she stopped did she realize she was standing before a brightly lit glass tower, the headquarters of Adrian's company. The glass lobby gleamed like a still lake. The receptionist smiled professionally when Emma set the business card on the counter. "Do you have an appointment?" "No," Emma said, her voice so calm it surprised even herself. "But he'll see me." She wrote down her name. The receptionist called upstairs. A moment later, the elevator light blinked. "Please, 42nd floor." In the elevator, Emma watched the numbers climb. Each chime stitched together the memories she had ripped open at the cafe. "Why didn't you choose me?" The question coiled in her chest, burning. The doors opened. An assistant greeted her, leading her down a quiet, carpeted hall. The last door was ajar. Adrian stood there, pen still in hand, shirt sleeves rolled to his elbows, a faint red mark on his wrist from his watch. His expression was both startled and afraid. He stepped aside. "Come in." The office was wide, its glass walls opening to a city draped in evening light. Everything was too neat. The large desk, the computer, the perfectly stacked files, the well-kept plant. No smell of food, no trace of someone living there. Only silence polished to a shine. Adrian set down his pen, avoiding the imposing chair behind the desk. Instead, he pulled 2 chairs by the window. "Here. It's easier to breathe." Emma didn't sit immediately. She walked a slow circle, eyes catching on details. A coffee cup stained with a thin ring, a worn enter key, a photo frame face down. She turned it over. It showed a riverside path, sunlight sliding across the hand of the one holding the camera. Empty, no one in frame. Emma set it back and turned. "Why didn't you choose me and choose silence instead?" The question shot out, sharp and clean. Adrian pressed his lips together. He sat down, gesturing. Emma took the seat opposite, her back straight. "Because I was weak," Adrian said slowly, as though dropping stones. "Because I was afraid. Because I thought disappearing would hurt you the least. Because I believed a threat and used it as an excuse not to fight. I was wrong, there's no defense." Emma didn't blink. "Someone threatened you?" Adrian met her gaze, then shook his head slightly, as if afraid a bigger motion might break something fragile between them. "I don't want to blame anyone else. The truth is simple. I didn't choose you. I chose silence." She felt her pulse in her temples. "If that day you'd said even one word, we could have fought together. But you decided to help me by vanishing, didn't you?" Her voice cracked at the end. "Yes." Adrian nodded, not flinching. "And it was the worst decision of my life." Silence. Outside, a cloud stretched its shadow across the glass, darkening the room briefly before fading. Emma bit her lip, clasping her hands in her lap to hide the tremor only she could feel. Adrian leaned back, eyes drifting past her toward the city. "After that day, I moved out that very night, changed my number, cut every tie. I went somewhere no one knew me and worked from 6 in the morning until past midnight. Contracts, meetings, profit charts. Every time I felt exhausted, I told myself, keep going, so when I come back, I won't have to hide behind someone else's door." Emma's face stayed composed. "You succeeded. Congratulations." Adrian let out a short, bitter laugh that ended quickly, sharp as porcelain cracking. "This office, this title, the numbers in reports, they didn't save anyone. I kept waiting until I was worthy enough to knock again. But the longer I waited, the heavier the door became. Every night I asked myself, if I knock, will you open, or will I only hurt you again?" Emma glanced around, pausing at the sofa in the corner, where a neatly folded thin blanket rested, the same kind she'd seen in his car that rainy night. A thought flickered. "Does he sleep here many nights?" She shoved it aside. "Did you love anyone in those 5 years?" Emma asked, her voice flat. "No." Adrian's reply was immediate and unhesitating. "I couldn't start something new when the last one had never been spoken to an end. Maybe that's cowardice too, but it's the truth." Emma inhaled. The answer fell between them like a small stone, rippling briefly in her eyes before sinking. "But that truth doesn't make up for 5 years," she said. "It doesn't make up for hospital nights, pregnancy alone, bills, fears, when you weren't there." Adrian nodded slowly. "I know." He laced his fingers together like a man about to sign a confession. "I won't ask forgiveness with 'I'm sorry.' I just want to put things where they belong. The blame is mine." "Put right?" Emma repeated. "Putting right would have been facing it from the start. Trusting me instead of someone else. Standing beside me even if your hands shook." Her eyes flared, then cooled. "Now it's too late." Adrian looked at her. His gaze, steady and unhidden, annoyed her because it didn't dodge. Only weary, determined, like someone who had run far and arrived late. "If you say too late," he said softly, "I accept that." She turned away, staring down at the tiny street below. "What do you want now?" "I want to make it right," Adrian said, "not with words. Being in the right place, at the right time, in the way you allow. I won't touch anything of yours without permission. I won't ask the questions I'm dying to ask. I'll be here if you need, and gone the moment you say so." Emma gave a faint laugh, a sound not quite joy. "You call that making it right?" "I call it starting," Adrian said, "doing fewer wrongs, little by little." She stood walking to the glass wall. The city sparkled like a giant keyboard. She placed her hand against the cold pane, then pulled it back. Do you know, she said, still facing outward, that some wounds, when they heal, the skin there loses all feeling? You touch it, it's not pain, not warmth, just nothing. Adrian blinked, then nodded slowly. I know that feeling, somewhere inside me. He paused, then added, I don't expect you to feel anything today. Then what do you expect? He exhaled as if setting down a weight. A chance, not to talk, but to do. To make it so every time you raise your hand to build the fence higher, you might find it a little lower instead. I know the choice is yours. I just ask for the right to stand outside that fence, not be pushed away yet. The room was so still they could hear the second hand on the wall clock. Emma kept her eyes on the city, her shoulders straight, her neck taut. In her mind, a rainy night replayed, a hand supporting a child's head, a blanket tucked carefully, silence at the right moment. But then came another winter. The unopened door, the bruised fingers on the bell, the dead phone. She turned back, eyes on the present. Words, she said slowly, don't heal wounds. I know, Adrian nodded, voice low. That's why I ask, for the chance not to speak anymore. Emma studied him for a long moment. On the desk, a phone buzzed faintly, lighting up with a caller's name. Adrian didn't look. On the glass, their reflections faced each other, two figures small against the vast city behind them. She didn't answer right away. The words yes or no crowded her throat, then slipped aside. In the end, Emma only picked up her bag and walked toward the door. Her hand gripped the handle. She paused half a beat. Behind her, Adrian's voice sounded, calm as a vow. Give me the chance to prove it with actions. Emma didn't turn back. The door opened, a thin draft sliding in. She stepped out, leaving the words suspended between them, like a taut string, unbroken, unknotted. The quiet hallway swallowed her footsteps. Inside the office, Adrian stood still, watching the door close, his mouth silent, but his resolve unspoken. Emma pressed the elevator button, her heartbeat in sync with the ding, her eyes dry and unblinking. She hadn't said yes, nor had she said no. Only silence. And this time, it was Adrian's turn to fill it, with action. Loving this story? This story belongs to Soul Stories. If you see it anywhere else, please come back to our official channel to enjoy it in full. The early season rain fell steadily, colder than the showers before. That evening, Emma brought Lily home from school. As they reached the hallway on their floor, a familiar figure stood waiting at the door of their apartment. Adrian. He held two new raincoats neatly folded in a clear plastic bag. Seeing mother and daughter, he simply lifted the bag slightly, his voice even. I saw the shop had new stock. Thought you might need them. If you don't like them, just throw them away. Before Emma could respond, Lily exclaimed, The pink one's for me, Mommy. Can I try it on? The girl beamed, slipping on the small raincoat and twirling. Adrian laughed, eyes soft. Emma faltered, hesitated to say something, but finally only nodded. Thank you. Adrian didn't step inside. He left the other bag on the doorknob and walked away. A few days later, Emma worked late and put in overtime. It was already night when she returned to the apartment building, stomach empty, Lily dozing on her shoulder. At the door, a neat paper bag sat waiting. Adrian stood nearby, shirt sleeves rolled, his hand faintly dusted with flour from the bakery. I wasn't sure if you'd eaten, Adrian said quietly, avoiding direct eye contact. Don't misunderstand. It's just, I thought Lily shouldn't sleep on an empty stomach. Emma gripped her keys tightly. The refusal stuck in her throat when Lily suddenly stirred, catching the scent of soup, and whispered excitedly, Food, Mommy? I'm hungry. Emma had no choice but to open the door and invite Adrian in. He only set the bag on the table, didn't sit, didn't look around. I'll go now. Then he left quietly, leaving behind warmth and the faint aroma of chicken pies. On another night, as Emma and Lily came home late, the stairwell light on their floor flickered out. She planned to report it to the manager in the morning, but the next day the doorbell rang. Adrian stood there, holding the old burned-out bulb covered in dust. I replaced it, he said, holding it out like proof. A broken light's dangerous for kids. Thank you, mister, Lily chirped, eyes shining. Do you know how to fix bikes too? Mine squeaks a lot. Adrian chuckled, ruffling her hair. I'll try, but I need your mom's permission first. Emma stood behind, arms crossed, voice cold. No need. I can handle it. Adrian only nodded, didn't argue, and left after saying goodbye. But those brief encounters were enough for Lily to grow used to him. She began drawing pictures of Adrian, innocently telling her mother, "He's kind, and I want to get ice cream with him again." One evening, as Emma tidied Lily's desk, she found a crayon drawing. 3 people sat around an ice cream counter. A long-haired woman, a little girl, and a tall man, all smiling. "What's this?" Emma asked, her chest tightening. "Me, you, and Mr." Lily answered, her eyes sparkling. "I want us to go get ice cream together." "I've never—" Her voice trailed off, hesitant. Emma bit her lip, staring at the blurred colors. Inside her, a battle raged. He left, but he came back, taking patient steps. Can I believe him? That night, when Lily was fast asleep, Emma sat by the window, her fingers brushing the edge of the forgotten drawing. Outside, the city glittered. Inside, her wall of anger seemed to fracture in places, replaced by something harder to name. Confusion, softness, wariness. He was atoning, through silence, not words. The next morning, Emma stepped into her office. Daniel, her colleague, had already placed a hot coffee on her desk. "You look tired," he said. "Stayed up late?" Emma gave a faint smile. "Just a few things." All day, Daniel stayed close, helping with tasks so Emma could slip away to call Lily. When their shift ended, he slowed his pace, standing beside her on the hospital steps. "Emma!" His voice was lower, more serious than usual. "I know you've been through a lot. I don't want to intrude before you're ready, but I really like you. Not just because you're strong, but because you're still gentle in the middle of everything. I want to be the one beside you, if you'll let me." Emma froze. The confession hit her suddenly, sincere and direct, like a knock against the fence she had tried so hard to build. Her grip tightened on her bag strap. In her mind, 2 images overlapped. Lily's drawing of 3 people eating ice cream, and Daniel's earnest eyes waiting for her answer. Daniel hesitated for a moment, then spoke more clearly, as if trying to dismantle every wall between him and Emma. "I don't want to replace anyone. I just want to help you raise your child. I don't need to be your husband. I don't need a title. I only ask for a place, with you and Lily." Emma wavered. Those words are simple, yet heavy. She drew a deep breath, keeping her voice gentle. "Daniel, you're truly good. But my heart isn't ready. I don't want someone to step in, only to leave again one day. Lily couldn't take another time like that. Thank you, but I'm sorry." Daniel stayed silent, his eyes pained but without reproach. He nodded, forcing a faint smile. "I understand. No matter what, you'll always have a friend here." Emma nodded, but she didn't expect that a few days later the story would be twisted. Emma's being pursued by Daniel? He wants to be Lily's father. The rumors reached Adrian without delay. That evening, he stood waiting outside Emma's apartment building. When she stepped out of a taxi, Lily half asleep in her arms, he spoke. "I need to talk." Emma frowned. "Not now." "Just one question," Adrian pressed, struggling to hold back. "Daniel, does he really want to replace me?" His voice was taut, laced with fear and anger. Emma narrowed her eyes, cold. "You don't have the right to ask. My life is mine to decide. Adrian's throat tightened before he forced it out. "I can't stand the thought of someone else stepping into your life, into Lily's life." "You can't stand it?" Emma let out a short, bitter laugh, her tone sharp. "Then where were you 5 years ago? You left me to struggle alone, pregnant, humiliated, drowning in debt. And now you come back, thinking you still have the right to interfere?" Adrian fell silent, his face twisted as though struck again. He swallowed hard, voice dropping low. "I know. I was wrong. And maybe even now, I'm still wrong. But I can't stand still anymore. If I must, I'll prove, through everything, that I will never turn my back again." Emma clutched Lily closer, her gaze cutting. Prove to whom? To me? To her? It won't be that easy, Adrian. She turned sharply, striding away, her back unyielding. Adrian stood frozen under the building's awning as the night rain poured down on the city. He didn't call after her, didn't follow. He only let the cold drops strike his face, mingling with the damp heat in his eyes, and he tried to hide. Emma vanished behind the lobby doors. Adrian remained alone in the rain, hands hanging at his sides, surrendering to the jealousy and the searing ache tightening in his chest. The hospital smelled of disinfectant and damp rain. Mr. Hale lay in room 612, the window looking straight down at the courtyard trees. Since his relapse, he had grown weaker, his voice raspy, his eyes sunken. Emma had switched to early shifts. Costs rose with every new test. Insurance covered part of it, but the rest were numbers that twisted her stomach. Expensive medication, supplies, the hospital bed, nutrition. At night, after coaxing Lily to sleep, Emma opened her expense book, every line marked red. She punched numbers into her calculator, deleted her plan to buy Lily new shoes, and looked up a shoe repair shop instead. She rebuilt her crisis plan, sell an old silver bracelet, cancel the premium internet plan, and beg for more shifts. Just get through this month, she told herself every night. On Monday morning, she visited the hospital's finance office to settle part of the outstanding bill. The clerk looked at the screen and smiled. This balance has already been settled, Emma. Settled? Emma frowned. Who paid? Same account as last time. The clerk flipped the ledger, pointing at the italicized line. Automatic transfer, Cole Ventures Foundation. The name hit Emma's eyes like a stone striking a still pond. She straightened, clutching her bag strap. Can that payment be canceled? It was recorded in the system yesterday. Canceling would take time to reconcile. You can contact the sender to request a refund. Emma gave a curt nod. Thank you. She turned and strode quickly away, her rubber soles beating against the hall floor, her heart racing as though she were running back into an old storm. Adrian stood under the main gate's awning, holding a bag of supplements and a paper crane Lily had folded for Grandpa. He was drafting a message. I'm downstairs if you need, when sharp footsteps stopped in front of him. Emma, her face was cold as glass. You paid my father's hospital bill? She asked bluntly, no greeting. Adrian tightened his grip on the bag and nodded. I thought, you don't get to buy forgiveness. Emma cut in, her voice hard and low. Those bills are mine. My family's. They're not some convenient outlet for your guilt. Adrian opened his mouth, then shut it. He nodded instead, not defending himself. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I thought easing your burden was helping. I overstepped. I'll cancel the transfer right now. Do it. Emma's eyes didn't blink. And from now on, don't touch my finances. Don't do anything behind my back. He pulled out his phone and called the accountant on the spot. His voice was short, firm. Stop all automatic payments connected to patient Hale. No replacement, no alternate method. If any amount has gone through, request a refund immediately. Hanging up, he turned back. Done. I'm sorry. Emma stood tall, her shoulders taut. She glanced at the bag in his hand. What's that? Multivitamins, the kind the nutritionist recommended for the elderly. In a paper crane Lily folded, he held the bag out, keeping distance, as if placing something fragile on a table. Leave it. Emma's tone had softened slightly, but not much. If you want to help, do it directly. No money, no transfers. The child needs someone to fill empty hands, not empty numbers. Adrian nodded as though handed a map. I understand. From that day, Adrian vanished from Emma's finances, but he began appearing in the small crevices of daily life, places money couldn't reach. On a rainy morning, he stood at the kindergarten gate, never going inside, only texting, I'm here. If the rain gets heavy, I'll drive you both home. Emma replied, not needed. The rain poured down, Lily shivering inside her pink raincoat. Emma looked at her daughter, looked at the storm, then typed a single word, come. That day he drove them home, stopping under the lobby awning, never stepping inside. Lily waved and shouted bye for a long time. Another day, the kitchen sink clogged. Emma struggled for an hour, water still dripping. The doorbell rang. Adrian stood there with a clutter of tools. "Permission?" he asked. Emma shifted aside silently. That was one of her rare yeses. He knelt, unfastened the pipe, wiped the floor, and reattached everything. Before leaving, he cleaned every water stain. No commentary, no lectures. When it came time to collect Mr. Hale's state insurance medication, the line was endless. Emma checked the clock nervously. Her shift was coming. A figure stepped into line behind her, holding a new number slip. "I'll stand here," Adrian said. "You go to work. I'll get everything on the prescription. Nothing missing." Emma eyed the ID card in his hand, hesitated like someone about to step over a painted line. "Send photos of each one," she instructed. He nodded. 3 hours later, her phone buzzed with photo after photo, medication, receipts, instructions. When he handed her the bag, he also gave her the bill. "Reimburse me if you want." Emma shoved the receipt into her bag without looking. One evening, Lily had a mild fever. Emma was stuck on the night shift, Maya away on business. Adrian texted, "I'm downstairs. If you need anything, send me a list." Emma typed a short one. Thermometer, electrolyte drinks, warm towels. 15 minutes later, the bag was at her door with no message. In the morning, when Emma opened the door to throw out the bag, she found a small thermos too, a sticky note on the lid. "Keep warm." These small tasks ticked steadily like clockwork. No fanfare, no scorekeeping. Emma began to notice a persistence she'd never seen in him before. A persistence not used to build a company, but to patch the tiny leaks in a household. She still drew boundaries. Set times, clear texts. No buying things. No acting on your own. "Only when I message Adrian," followed to the letter. Inside the apartment, he never crossed beyond the kitchen. With Lily, he knelt to her level and spoke in short sentences. When Lily pleaded, "Stay for dinner, mister," Emma looked over. Adrian shook his head with a smile. "Another time, when your mom agrees." Lily adored him in the way children do, naively, quickly, completely. She ran to show him drawings, sang him songs from school, even slipped a piece of candy into his hand. "I saved this for you." Adrian accepted it like a medal. One late afternoon, Emma pushed open the door to room 612 and found Mr. Hale sitting by the window, his frail body leaning outward. It took her a moment to realize what he was watching. Down in the hospital courtyard, Adrian stood in the drizzle, Lily cradled in his arms. The little girl was pointing at the fish pond, babbling, her head nodding against his shoulder. Adrian listened closely, nodding along, his arm wrapped firmly around her back, holding her as if the wind might snatch her away. Emma froze at the doorway, her hand still on the knob. She followed her father's gaze and saw the scene condense into something like a photograph, a man and a child. Room 612 was unusually quiet that afternoon. The rain had just stopped, the window streaked with long trails of water like finished medical charts. Mr. Hale propped himself on high pillows, eyes drifting toward the courtyard below, where visitors wandered sparsely. Emma set down a tray of porridge on the rolling table, checked the IV bag, her hands so practiced she didn't need to look. "Emma," he called, his voice hoarse, no longer the commanding tone of old. "Sit. I need to talk." She pulled up a chair. The last light of day slid across her white coat, settling on the veined back of her hand. "I'm listening." He stayed silent a moment, as if searching for a place to set down something heavy. "I was wrong," he spoke directly without circling. "Wrong from the day I called Adrian in. I told him to leave you. I thought it was protection, cutting off scandal, keeping your path smooth. I threatened him. If he didn't disappear, I'd destroy your future." Emma's breath froze. She heard her own heartbeat hammering in her chest like metal struck. "I gave myself that right," he continued, eyes lowered, "and I ruined everything." The last sentence made the room slip half a beat. Emma lowered her head, her fingers gripping the edge of the bedsheet. When she looked up, her eyes were wet. "I paid with 5 years of my youth." Mr. Hale blinked, his throat shifting. "I know," he whispered. "I saw you go to the hospital alone, pregnant, while people spoke cruel things. I saw you work 3 shifts a day, then come home to cool my forehead. You raised Lily, and you carried me too. I witnessed it all and stayed silent as stone. He sighed, his frail shoulders sinking. I'm sorry. The apology felt like a thin bandage. It didn't heal, but it soothed the burn. Emma wiped quickly at the corner of her eyes, clinging to the composure of a mother. Why are you only saying this now? Because yesterday, he glanced toward the window, his voice cracking. I saw Adrian carrying Lily in the courtyard. He held her like something the wind might steal. I've never seen him like that, and I understood. Some mistakes can only be undone by the one who made them, not me. He reached into the bedside drawer, pulling out a faded brown envelope, its corner torn, stained faintly with coffee. He placed it in Emma's hand. This was yours. You should have had it 5 years ago. I kept it. Emma stared at the envelope. Her name was written on it. The handwriting was so familiar that her hand trembled. She carefully tore the edge, as though afraid of ripping something fragile, and returned too late. The paper inside was yellowed at the edges. A musty smell rose, mixing with antiseptic. Emma unfolded it. Slanted handwriting leapt at her eyes. Emma, I am doing the most cowardly thing of my life. Writing instead of standing before you. I didn't vanish because I stopped loving you. I vanished because I believed silence would hurt you less. If I told you I'd been cornered, you would have said together. But I didn't dare say it. That's my fault. I won't ask you to understand. I only want you to know. I'll return when I can call my actions right, not running. If that day comes, I'll bring a ring. Cheap or expensive, it won't matter. As long as the hand that holds yours never lets go again. If you choose to hate me, burn this letter. That's your right. Adrian. The last lines were blurred, likely by water. Emma's vision fogged as she reached the sentence about the ring. She laid the paper on her lap, breathing deep, her palms cold. I kept it, Mr. Hale rasped, because I was afraid. Afraid you wouldn't listen to me. Afraid you'd run off with him and abandon the family. I thought I was right. He looked directly into his daughter's eyes. I was wrong again. Emma laughed thinly, a sound like a fraying thread. If I'd read this back then, maybe things would have been different. At least I wouldn't have been alone through every waiting night. She bit her lip, whispering more to herself. I'm tired of being angry, but I'm also afraid of forgiving. That fear, I understand. He nodded softly. Forgiving means giving someone the chance to hurt you again. But sometimes it's also the chance to stop your own bleeding. Emma stayed silent. She folded the letter, slid it back into the envelope, holding it in her palm like a warm compress. On her skin, warmth and chill mingled. I don't know what to do, she admitted. I built a wall. Now if I lower it, I'm afraid of the draft. But if I keep it forever, Lily and I will live in our own shadow. Mr. Hale looked at her for a long time. In his eyes was a softness Emma had never seen. You're the one who decides, he said. I no longer have the right. But before you decide, I want to talk to him. Emma lifted her head. To Adrian? He nodded. A man-to-man talk I should have had 5 years ago. They didn't wait long. That afternoon, while Emma went to the pharmacy for gauze, Mr. Hale asked a nurse to make a call. An hour later, the door to room 612 opened. Adrian stood at the threshold, shirt plain, shoes still damp with rain. He stopped when he saw Emma. Their eyes met, a thin silence passing between them. I'm going to get supplies, Mr. Hale said, as though reading his daughter's unease. Lend me Adrian for a few minutes. Emma nodded. Before leaving, she tucked the brown envelope into her father's drawer, as if returning a witness. The door closed quietly. The room held only 2 men and the steady beeping of the monitor. Adrian stepped to the bed, bowing his head. Good afternoon, sir. Mr. Hale gestured to the chair. Adrian sat, straight-backed, like facing a disciplinary board. The older man studied him long enough for the air to thicken. I did what I never should have done, he began, plain and direct. I forced you away from my daughter. I thought protecting her meant pushing you out. I was wrong. Adrian held his breath. You don't deserve blame for that. Disappearing was my choice. Yes, Mr. Hale nodded, but I opened the door for that choice. I want to fix what I can, in the way an old man still can. He glanced out the window where dusk pulled away from the rooftop edge. If you still love her, don't run again. Adrian clenched his hands on his knees. I won't. I don't need vows. I need you to understand what she's endured. His voice dropped, each word weighted. She carried Lily alone. She gave birth alone. She stayed up through fevers alone. She worked and cared for a sick father, me. I watched her bear it all, and all I did was add to her burden. He swallowed, eyes blinking fast to push back water. She suffered enough. The name Lily made Adrian tilt his head ever so slightly. He didn't ask, but his body trembled, as if a cold wind had rushed through his chest. Do you understand what I'm saying? Mr. Hale pressed, eyes unyielding. Adrian nodded, voice rough. I do. And I ask permission to pay the price properly, not with money, by being in the right place, when she allows it. Mr. Hale sank deeper into his pillows, exhaling as if setting down a weight his arms could no longer carry. Good. Then start by enduring her no. Endure her silence. And when she's tired, don't talk, don't promise, just act. A knock sounded. Emma entered, a pharmacy bag in hand. She glanced at the two men, searching for traces of what had passed in Adrian's still bright eyes and her father's softened face. Mr. Hale masked a faint smile. That's the medicine? Yes, Emma answered, checking the IV line, setting the bag down. The brown envelope still lay safe in the drawer, like a stitch freshly sewn but still tight. Parent-teacher conference day at the elementary school was livelier than Emma had expected. The lobby was crowded, bulletin boards covered in children's drawings. Emma stepped into Lily's classroom. Mommy, come in with Mr. Two, Lily exclaimed, tugging at Adrian's hand as he lingered quietly in the hallway. Emma hesitated, but seeing her daughter's eager eyes, she only sighed and let Lily pull him in. Adrian sat at the back, never pushing forward, never claiming who he was to Lily, simply writing uncle in the blank space on the attendance sheet. When the teacher smiled and said, Today Lily has two loved ones here, he only nodded, adding nothing more. Throughout the meeting, Adrian never spoke about himself. He listened closely to every comment from the teacher, jotting notes carefully, occasionally smiling when Lily enthusiastically raised her hand. As they left, he said quietly, She's bright and full of heart. You've raised her so well. Emma was startled, not by the compliment itself, but by the sincerity and calmness in his tone. No flourish, no claim of credit. The next night, Lily cried over her unfinished science project. The door to her study cracked open. Adrian stood there holding a toolbox he had just bought. I can help, if you'll allow me. Emma folded her arms, watching her daughter bite her lip. She nodded. Just for tonight. Adrian sat on the floor, dismantling each plastic piece so Lily could reassemble them herself, only guiding when truly necessary. From the doorway, Emma saw a patience in him she had never known before. No sharp words, no grabbing control, only laughter when Lily made mistakes, followed by quiet waiting as she tried again. When the model finally lit up, Lily jumped with joy. Adrian only ruffled her hair and whispered, You did it yourself. I just held the screwdriver. Emma turned away, hiding an unexpected tear. This was an Adrian she had never seen before. Not the boy who ran years ago, nor the accomplished businessman of today, but a man steady and silent, standing behind them. One drizzly evening, Emma and Adrian sat side by side in the small kitchen, while Lily sketched busily at the table. Emma spoke, her tone even. I'm not making promises, but we can try again, slowly. Adrian froze. His eyes flickered with light, then softened. He didn't burst out, didn't pull her into his arms. He only nodded, as if accepting a conditional sentence. I'll be patient. Emma turned away, but the corner of her lips betrayed a small smile. That night, Lily ran over, her little hand grabbing Emma's, and then tugging Adrian's into place. She looked up, eyes bright and clear. So today, are we a family? Emma and Adrian met each other's eyes in silence. Neither answered right away, but between the three interlaced hands, a new thread had formed, Not from the past, but from the choice to step forward together. The small kitchen smelled of butter and garlic. Emma stirred the pan of spaghetti, sprinkling in a little basil. On the table sat a simple salad and an open bottle of white wine. Lily busied herself setting out plates and forks as she hummed a school song. Adrian helped carry dishes. His movements were so practiced that it felt as if he had done this thousands of times in a familiar home. Emma poured the wine. When she looked up, the warm light from the lamp shone through the pale gold in her glass. The image suddenly brought back a distant night, the furious splash of wine, the sour sting on Adrian's shirt. She smiled to herself. The circle had closed here, in calm and warmth. They sat around the table, words unnecessary. Lily chattered about school, waving her hands so much that the sauce nearly splattered. Adrian laughed, leaned down, and wiped her mouth with a patience that left Emma quietly watching. Midway through dinner, Adrian set down his fork. He looked at Emma, then at Lily, his voice low but steady. "I want to apologize one last time, not just to you, but in front of Lily." The kitchen fell still. Lily tilted her head, dark eyes wide. Adrian drew a deep breath. "For not being there from the beginning. For letting you both endure alone. I can't erase those 5 years, but I will never miss another day again." Emma set down her glass. Her eyes are no longer sharp, only relieved after a long road. "You don't need to apologize anymore," she said softly. "Just be here. From now on." Adrian nodded as if making a silent vow. After dinner, Lily disappeared for a moment and returned, clutching a small, clear plastic box. "I have this!" Emma blinked in surprise. Inside was a little silver ring with a pale blue stone, the kind children bought from souvenir stands. "I saved my lunch money for it," Lily beamed. "It's for Mr. if he wants to be my dad." Emma froze, her heart squeezing. She looked at Adrian. His hands trembled as he accepted the box, opening it with a smile that blurred in red-rimmed eyes. He knelt in the middle of the kitchen. No spectacle, no glittering diamond. Only the tiny ring Lily had chosen, and a simple proposal. "Emma, let me be the one who stays. Not just the past, not just mistakes, but the present and the future. Will you say yes?" Tears spilled down Emma's cheeks, but her lips curved in a smile. She nodded, not dramatically, just enough to let her heart burst open inside her chest. "Yes." Lily clapped, jumping, then wrapped her arms tightly around them both. That evening, Maya dropped by. She raised the old film camera, urging them to sit back at the table. The yellow light fell over unfinished plates of spaghetti, the white wine glowing softly. Lily squeezed in between, holding both Emma's and Adrian's hands. Maya clicked the shutter. Snap. In that frame, there were no diamonds, no castles, only the smell of garlic butter, quiet laughter, and 3 people finding a family of their own. The photo was later hung in the living room, in a simple wooden frame. Every morning, Emma looked at it and noticed something strange. The deepest wounds hadn't vanished, but they no longer bled. They had become warm scars, reminders that she had lived, had loved, and had been loved in return. Beside it, Adrian slipped a small handwritten note into the frame. "Some wounds only heal when the one who caused them stays to mend them." And Emma knew this time he would stay.